has a number of products. So who remembers the number of products that we have in the Power Platform? How many products are there in the Power Platform?
There are four, sir.
There are four. Excellent. Okay,
Four.
thank you for great. All right. So Yinka, what's the first product there?
Power Up.
Power apps. Excellent. Baraka, your hand is up. What's the second product or another product in this space? Hello, Baraka, are you there?
Power BI.
Power
Yeah, I'm
BI.
here.
Okay. Excellent. I can see Baba Tope. Can you mention one as well?
Virtual agents.
Power Virtual Agent, and I can see Mazida. So what's the last product there?
Power Automate.
Power Automate. Excellent. So those are the four products that we have in the Power Platform: Power Apps, Power BI, Power Virtual Agents, and Power Automate. And the conversation went ahead to discuss with us what are the uses or what exactly do these products do, the four products that we have mentioned. So Power Virtual Agent, what is it used for? Anybody? Power Virtual Agent, what was it used for, Baraka? Please, we can leave our mics open. So
Sorry.
this is yeah. Please go on.
It is used to create intelligent chatbots.
Intelligent chatbots. Excellent. How about Power Automate? That seems simple and direct. Baba Tope, I can see your hand is up.
Yeah, so for Power Automate, we use it to eliminate manual or we call it repetitive processes.
Interesting. So we use it to automate manual or repetitive task. David, I've not heard you say anything. Power BI, what do we use it for? Is David here with us? Maybe not. So who is assisting us with that? What do we use Power BI for?
Power BI is an business analytics tool.
Business analytics tool. Okay, so we use it to analyze our businesses, just simply put. Okay, so we have one more. What is that and what is it used for? Yinka, you can see your hand is up.
Actually, I was a bit carried away, so I don't know the ones they've mentioned and the one they've not
Okay,
mentioned.
I think we've mentioned Power Virtual Agent, Automate, and Power BI.
I think Power App is used for designing low apps,
Low code
low code
applications.
applications. Yes.
Okay. All right. So now, thank you very much, everyone. So, and I want to believe that at this time, we all have our environment set up. So we will start working on the Power Apps today. So today and for say 2 more sessions, we might be talking about Power Apps. What are the things that we can build within the Power Apps? So let's just go right in. So, but what I want us to do first is that please, as I go on with this conversation, if you have any question, any clarification, please, we can always make that. Just call my attention to it. I'm on a single screen, so I may not be able to monitor whose hand is up. You can just unmute yourself, call my attention to whatever clarifications you have to make, and then we can, so I can address that before we proceed. So that is the first thing or what I want us to actually take note of at this time. So let me put up my slide. So let me share my screen. All right, so we're welcome once again to the Power Platform series, and this is day 2. And for the Power Apps, myself and Noye would be the ones that would undo the Power Apps session. So, introduction to Power Apps. Yes, we have been told that Power Apps is used to build business applications. Business application. So it is a low code platform to build business application. And when we say low code, so some of the misconceptions that people have out there is that when you are doing anything within Power Apps, you are writing no code at all. Yes, of course, it is possible that you build solutions without writing codes. You can build solutions, excellent one, and you will not write any code at all. Very possible. But when your app is getting to be more advanced, then you might have to write a bit of code to enhance some of those functionalities that you want to enhance, or to add those functionalities that you want to add to your apps. So when we talk about Power Apps, really, we say that Power Apps is used to build business applications. And when we say business applications, the restriction there, the clause there is the business bits. So, and the reason for that is because of the fact that anything that you are building with the Power Apps is usually targeted at, or for it being used within the business space or within an organization. So it is not an app that anyone could have, just like the traditional apps that we get from the App Store, the iOS Store, and then anyone can download that and begin to use for whatever situation or for whatever use they want to deploy that for. No, it is not like that. So Power Apps specifically is used to build applications that would be used and deployed within the business setting. So you have some things that you're doing in your businesses internally or externally, and you want to build apps for them to monitor those processes within the business or to assist you have some very clear communication with your clients, then those are the things that you can use Power Apps for. And one of the reasons why you may not see Power Apps on the App Store or somewhere having its restriction to businesses is because of the fact that it is subscription based. So like we saw yesterday, we only have a trial access to it. So anyone that would want to deploy Power Apps in their organization obviously would have some subscription they would pay to Microsoft before they can have access to a number of users to begin to use Power Apps. So look, let me not give so much lengthy talk on this. We'll get to some of the concept later on. We have different types of Power Apps. We have three basically, and I would want us to take note. We have three types of Power Apps, and I will discuss what are the types of Power Apps and how are they used, or what is their use cases. So we understand that before we now begin to discuss certain things around how to begin to build our Power Apps. So when we talk about the types of Power Apps, we have three. The first type is what is called the Canvas app. Canvas apps. That is the first type of Power Apps. So when someone says that he wants to build a Canvas app, typically what should come to our mind is that this individual is building an app within the Power App space. Canvas app is one of the types of Power Apps. And what is Canvas app? Canvas app is that app that you build for internal use. Let's note that you build it for internal use, and you build it's the end result will be a mobile application or a tablet application. So the end result of whatever you build when it comes to the Canvas app is something that you can use on your mobile or you can use on your tab. So the way this works is that after you have built Power Apps, you have gone to powerapps.com, you have built a Canvas app, then you can come to your mobile, you have built a Canvas app and you have published it. You can come to your mobile, download, go to your iOS store, your Android store, download Power Apps. There's an application for Power Apps, you download it. You sign in with your credentials, then whatever you have built on the web, you can begin to access it on your mobile and then work with it. So I've mentioned two key things about Power Apps. First is that you build you build Canvas apps for internal use in the business, and you also build Canvas apps when the end goal is that you want to use that app on your mobile device. The third thing about Canvas app is that the entire interface of a Canvas app is just a drag and drop interface. So for those of us that we have very good use of what's it called PowerPoint, um, we would find this extremely easy, and it's just we transferring those knowledge of design and aesthetics and some of those stuff that we do in PowerPoint to our Canvas app. So it will come a lot easy for some of us who have good background in PowerPoint. But regardless, that is basically what Canvas app is. So Canvas app, the end result is a mobile or a tablet app. It is used for internal purposes within the business, and also it has a drag and drop interface. So the entire thing that you see here, most of them are just drag and drop. So but at some point you may have to write some Excel like functions. I said Excel like functions. So when some of us that are also coming from a good Excel background, it will be easy for us to quickly cross-reference certain things that we want to do within the Canvas app to what we have been doing in Excel. So you want to do some calculations within the Canvas app, you can say equal to sum, and then you display the result. You can say equal to min, equal to max, all of those functions that we use in Excel, we can use some of them here and a few additional functions. So that is the Canvas app. The next type of Power Apps is the model-driven app. Model-driven app. That is the next type of Power Apps. And the model-driven app basically is an app that you design or you develop for business processes. You use it to manage to channel business processes. What do I mean by business processes? For instance, in an organization, there might be processes for procurement. So maybe the process for procurement will be that the user department, maybe operations department, for instance, they are in need of laptops. So when they are in need of laptops, maybe what they do is to talk to the human resource executive that okay, or probably they talk to their head of department that they need this set of laptops, and then the head of department will have a document that he would prepare and send to the human resource executives. And when he sends that to the human resource executives, he or she minutes on it, approves it, and sends it down to the procurement department. And the procurement department, they begin to now process procurement of those laptops. This is a business process internally. Some other processes might exist within the organization that we want to now ensure that this process is well monitored, and anybody who wants to achieve the end goal or the result of this process must follow through these entire steps. We have identified that we have a process within our organization that has 5 steps. So those 5 steps, regardless of who is coming in to take up those steps, we want to ensure that everyone's follow through the the steps from step 1 to step 5. So no one jumps any steps. So these are some of the business processes that we can use model driven apps to execute. So you develop an app, you define the processes, you define probably if there are some sort of um, um, what's it called? Some sort of the process lag, some things that people have to do within those processes. You identify those, you spell them out, you itemize them within those processes, and it is only left for someone to just come in, start up with a process, do this, then it goes to the next stage, it does this, next stage, and continues like that till the end of the entire thing. So that is a model driven app. It is used to monitor business processes, to execute business processes. The third type of Power Apps is what is called a Portals app. Portals are really just like the name implies, portals. Portal, something external. When we're in the university, we had our portal. So you go to the portal, you log on, you get to your dashboard. So your dashboard, you see a number of details about yourself. From your portal, you can communicate with um, the registrar, some other people that are at the ends of affairs. So what we use Portals app for basically is that you use it to develop client-facing website. Not really the normal website that we use or that we are used to, but something that you can use to serve as the medium of interaction between yourself within the business and your client. Okay, so probably what we need to do is to have a sort of we want to have a medium, we want to create a medium whereby our client can sign on to a platform and directly relate with us based on our businesses or based on certain processes or certain services that we are rendering to them. So Portal's app would avail us do that. So you host it just like you host the normal website, and then you yourself and your client, you can begin to have some communications via that particular platform. So to recap, Canvas app is used to build mobile application that you can use on your mobile, on your tab. Those are Canvas apps, and it has a drag and drop interface. Model-driven app is used to execute business processes. So it manages the flow of business processes and assists you execute them, ensuring that anyone that starts this process follow through the entire processes before they get to wherever the processes end. And Portals app, you use them to create client-facing or external-facing website that would avail you have some level of communication with your client. And to get this, why is this? Because why is it that Canvas app cannot allow us to have certain communications with our client? The reason is this. When we talked about tenants yesterday and environment, so we mentioned that tenants, like I think Sadiq mentioned, that the tenant is at the level of the organization. So there is something they call the Azure Active Directory. So when you create tenants on the Azure Active Directory is for Microsoft. So when you create tenants there, you register the entire people within the organization on that tenant. So whatever application that you are using within the organization, maybe you are using Excel Online, you are using Microsoft Word, you are using PowerPoint, Outlook, and they are subscription based. The organization have subscribed to those services from Microsoft. Anybody that has been registered on the Azure Active Directory would have access to those, and they can use it based on the subscription plan that has been done by the organization. But because the clients that you have, they are not on that Active Directory. So whatever application that you build, they will not be able to use them. So the app is hosted within that tenant, the tenant that is on the Active Directory. So the app is hosted there, and because they are not on your Active Directory, they would not be able to use this app. And that is why we have the portals, which would allow you to have some level of communication with the client, even though they are not on your Active Directory. So that is the gap that the portals app have come to breach rather. Do we have any question? Is this a bit clear to us? Okay, Baba Tokwe.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Musin.
Musen, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
So my question is, you gave an example of the model-driven app. You talk of procurement processes, and under the Portal app as well, it could be more like the school website, right? But I need an example under the Canvas app. What type of app can we build under the Canvas app? Thank you.
Excellent question there. But I would not want to answer the question yet, because the next set of things that we'll discuss immediately after now would focus on Canvas app, and then we begin to think around and discuss some of the things that we can use the Canvas app for. But thank you for that question. Any other question before I proceed? Okay, I suppose not. All right, so these are the three types of Power Apps: Canvas apps, model-driven apps, and Portals app. So now, when you want to build your first app, let's get this straight. To this class, we're going to focus, or during the course of the conversation around Power Apps, we'll focus on Canvas app really, okay? So, but now, if we want to build Canvas app, what are those things that would come to mind that would make us now think or resolve to that, oh, Canvas app is the solution for these problems in any business whatsoever. One of those things that we do in our businesses is to gather data of our clients. For instance, let me see if I have an Excel file I can open. Let me just open a new Excel file. So, and um, okay. So one of those things that we do in our businesses is maybe we run a provisions business. We sell provisions. That's what we do. Then we hire someone, maybe the data entry staff or the admin staff or whatever nomenclature we give to that role. We hire that individual and we tell the individual that, see, what you will be doing is whatever we sell, customers have taken out their receipts. Then we have duplicates for our receipts. So what you'll be doing is 4 p.m. every day, you'll come to this Excel file and enter those details on the Excel file, details of the
Okay.
receipts of our transactions. Okay, details of the receipts of those transactions. So we know when we issue receipts to our customers, there are duplicates there. So what the person does is that he goes after the day's activities, pick up all those duplicates for that day, and it comes to the Excel file to enter them. So you could have something like this, maybe serial number, maybe name. So maybe name, then maybe receipt, ID, then maybe product, then probably amount or something like that. This is what the individual does on a daily basis. This is what it does on a daily basis. And then just come here, enter detail, serial number one, the name of the customer is Babatokbe. The receipt ID is, say, let's say ID 11234. The product is let's say bags, and then amount is, let's say, 12,400. That's the amount. So this is what the individual does every day. Every day. So now, one of the disadvantages of this is that for you to actually ensure that data is entered correctly on this document here, you need to have some level of proficiency when it comes to Excel. And what I mean by that is you are able to validate some of these entries so that when an individual comes here, maybe instead of bags, the person enters bag, for instance, the system will tell the person that no, it has to be bags. So because if you have bag here, you have bags here, someone comes in, enter BG for bag, and the data continues to go like that. When you want to run analysis on your data, you would have so much problems when it comes to data preparation because you cannot run analysis on a data that is like this. You have, of course, so you have issues. You may not be able to figure it out though, but you eventually have issues running your analysis because bag in analysis is different from bags and it is different from BG. So you need to find a way to validate the entries here so that whoever is entering any data on this Excel file, they would only probably come here and pick from a selection, a predefined selection. So no one comes in and enter bag instead of bags. So another problem with this process is that it has doubled the process for or within the business. What you could have done is instead of issuing a receipt, the sales executive is the one entering values on the receipt. Then after doing that, the admin executive or the data entry officer now comes to enter those receipts, the details of those receipts. It comes to enter them on this Excel file. It is a double process already. This is something that you can harmonize to be a single individual's assignment. Okay, we are not trying to say that probably we want to We want to relieve some people of their jobs. No, that's not what we're saying. But it will make it a lot more efficient if it is just only an individual who has a system to enter data directly. Once he's getting the data from the customer, enters them directly, and then the system assists you to populate these documents. So that way, things will be a lot more efficient, and you'll be able to reduce errors within the system to a great level. So what you can use, Power Apps can actually come to your aid in a scenario like this. The scenario I just painted. And what would happen is that you develop an app that will be connected to an Excel online file like this. And then it is that app, because of the fact that that app stays on the mobile. So a customer comes in, you just launch your app, the customer's name, you enter the name. Probably you can generate IDs automatically. You can then enter the product that the customer wants to buy, put the amount there, and you save. And once you save that, what you just need to do is at the end of the day, come to this your Excel file that you have linked to that app, and you see your entire data populated on this, and that makes your processes a lot more efficient and almost error free. Sorry, was that someone was speaking? Okay, but okay, I don't know if we are on the same page on this.
Yes, we are. Thank you, Musin.
Okay, great one. All right, so let me ask us at this point, the scenario I've just painted now, did everyone flow with that? Are we clear with that? Are we able to relate it with what is obtainable?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
we are.
sorry, I lost along the line, so I don't know, maybe if you can come again.
Okay, just hold on. So hopefully we'll have someone speak through that a bit. Mienka, you wanted to say something?
No.
Okay. So now, going a step further, I've painted a scenario. So I want us to think through some other scenarios where we think that instead of doing certain manual processes in our organization or in our businesses, you think that Power Apps, Canvas app would be able or would be a good substitute for that particular process. So who is taking the lead? I need just 2 or 3 persons. You want me to start calling names? This is to ensure that we actually understand where to use this, because one of the challenges with some of these products is that if you're not clear on what should come as a solution to what scenario, you would know all of them, but when it comes to you applying them, you have a lot of troubles. So we need to understand where would this product come to play. It's not just about we knowing how to use the product, coming up, developing solutions with it. We need to be sure of what scenario would it come into play, and that would assist us further to be able to manage deploying solutions when those scenarios arise. So someone is going on this. Just print an example of when you think we can use a Canvas app. We are quiet. We are quiet. We are quiet.
Can we say in a supermarket?
Okay, what are we doing in the supermarket? What do we want to use the Canvas app for?
Okay, say maybe when your customers they want to place order for something, then they enter their name, their details, select the product that they want to buy, and all of that. I'm just thinking outside of the box. I don't know if that's
So,
right.
with your explanation now, who would be the user of the app? The business or the customers?
Yeah, for me, I think the customer will be the one using the app, right? Because it would be the one to fill in their details.
Okay. With what we have explained, is it likely that Canvas app work for that?
Ah, well, I don't know. That's why I'm here.
Okay,
It
great.
doesn't.
So it doesn't. Why? Yinka, you want to explain?
From what you explained to us, you said Canvas app is used internally, so
Yeah,
it cannot be used by um the client and the business. It can only be
yeah.
used by a business.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. So, Babatope, in the situation you have mentioned, for Canvas app to come into play, it has to be that someone within the business is the one using that app. So, if you want your clients to be able to place order via an app, then you need to develop a traditional app for them. Do you understand? Or you develop a portals app but the portals app will stay on the website. So probably your client would have to be making their orders on a laptop or just on the web. But for Canvas app, it has to be someone internally, someone who is in the organization, who has access to the organization's tenant that can make use of the Canvas app. I don't know if you are clear on that, Tope.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, Yinka, you have a question?
I only want to give an instance of someone using
Okay,
Canvas.
okay, great. Yeah,
Like a sales representative, for example,
okay,
that a customer coming in to buy or to purchase some items,
yeah.
which you have to issue a receipt,
Mhm.
and at the end of the day, you have to compile the receipts to make a report.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of the week, a weekly report. You still have to convert to compile the receipts at the end of the day
Mm.
before you present it at the end of the week. So instead of that person inputting the invoice, for example, typing in the customer's details inside the invoice, then printing out the invoice,
Mhm.
printing the customer's copy and printing the business copy. Then at the end of the end of the day, now going back to Excel to um to insert all those business copies into Excel formats.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you can just link the Excel to your Power App, the Canvas app. So
Mhm.
once you are once you are designing the receipt, the invoice, inputting the name, the item that was purchased, the price,
Mhm.
and other informations. Once you save and print, it immediately updates itself in the Excel. So instead of printing the business copy, then going back to Excel at the end of the day to start afresh,
Mhm.
updating those, you can just use the Canvas app for that.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that instance. Thank you. So another one that would come to mind is maybe you work in a bank. You know, in the banking sector, they do a lot of marketing. So they have the sales and marketing team. They ask them to go out to start taking details of people that might be interested in, say, loan, or people that might be interested in opening bank account or stuff like that. So instead of they going around with papers, they get to customer A, they take down the details on paper, then they collate, compile those papers, take them back to the office, and they give them to the accounts officers, and they start entering those on the systems, opening account for those people. They can actually use Canvas apps for those. They just get to a customer, all the details that they have, the key details that they have on the papers that they go around with. They can create an app having all those details. So they get to customer A, they just open the app, launch it, they enter details of customer A, they save it. Once they save it, people in the office would have that information already because they have access to the data source. So they have that information already, and then they can, in fact, almost instantaneous. They can begin to create those accounts. So it's not even delayed. So things are more efficient and a lot faster. So that's another scenario. So we can begin to think around different scenarios that we probably in some businesses that we do, personal businesses, or even in the organization that we work in, can begin to think around those processes and start looking at, oh, these are some of the use cases for Canvas apps. So that's just an introduction and when we are going to use the Canvas app. So we have 37 minutes at the top of our schedule already. Let's go on our break now. So we are supposed to go for our break in 3 minutes, but let's go on our break now. So when we resume from break, we are going to now start our demo straight up. So and for our break, yes, I have something for us. So let me put that up, and then let me say just a second. Okay, I'll put this up in a second. Yeah. So please just let me know if you can hear this sound.
All right, listen and listen well, because no truer words are ever.
Did we hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so break 10 minutes. We're back. We start the demo.
We're going to be spoken. You can do anything you want without limitation. Whatever it is that you decide you want to make come true in your life, you can do that. It is going to take an inhuman amount of work. You're going to have to be prepared to break yourself in half. You are going to have to learn more than anyone has ever learned. You're going to have to push yourself harder than anyone has ever asked you to push yourself before. You're going to go way beyond your breaking point. You're going to run until you vomit. You're going to study until you fall asleep. You're going to push and push and push, and then you're going to push some more. And when you hit the limit, you're going to push again beyond that. You're going to force yourself into an adaptation response. And why? Because as Malcolm X said, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So if you don't put the work in today, if you don't do the unending, back-breaking work of developing yourself into something greater, the world is going to pass you by. The people that are going to own it are going to be the ones that did that work. And the one promise that I can make you right now is that somebody out there is outworking you. Somebody right now is doing the things that I'm saying. Somebody right now is doing the work of failing and getting up and getting better and pushing themselves and triggering that glorious adaptation response that makes humans the apex predator. Someone right now, they're putting in that work. And if you don't, the future is going to belong to them. And as Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. It's not okay to make excuses. It's not going to slow people down. It's not okay to ask the world to stop so that you can step out front. It's not okay to expect little of yourself and demand great rewards. The only thing that's okay is to be in line with the way that the world really works. And if you want to be great, you've got to become capable of greatness. You've got to develop your skill set. You've got to take what you have now, and if that's crawling, then crawl, but you drag yourself ever forward to a vision of yourself that is so clear and so specific that nothing could knock you off your path, because you, my friend, know exactly where you're going. You're willing to pay whatever price it takes to get there. And no matter what anybody says, no matter how many hecklers come for you, no matter how many people try to throw dirt on you, try to stop you, try to knock you down, no matter how many people come for you at night while you sleep, you will rise and you will keep pushing forward and you will get better every day. And no matter how many times people chop at you, knock you down, knock you off the path, you will get back on. You will crawl till you can walk, you will walk till you run, and then you will run until you fly. And that, my friends, is the only path forward. So if you want a future that makes you happy, if you want a world that you're excited about, get your ass out there and earn it.
Give me the book back. Take the book. Hey, bro, it's my chicken, bro. What kind of familiar? Justin, what are you doing, man? What's up? Out of shot? Ah, what is you doing, bro?
I'm just playing. I ain't robbing y'all.
Bro, you was not playing,
Y'all
man.
thought I was for real. Y'all know me be
Bro,
joking and
What
stuff.
with the
but
job, man?
I ain't got no job,
Bruh.
man.
Why you should have stayed in school, bro, man. Got your education, man. Can't even mess with you, man. You out here robbing people, man. Cool off to you,
Stupid, man. For real, man. It's
Hey,
like,
man, stay up, though, bro.
it's like that.
As Derek Jeter said, there may be people who have more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you do. At the end of the day, whether you believe in talent or not is completely irrelevant. Everyone should believe in hard work. Everything in your life is literally a result of that. You're born an infant, a lump of flesh that can't even hold its own head up. And yet somehow, by practicing, by learning, by growing, you're able to get better. You're literally incapable of anything when you're born. Every skill that you have in your life, all the things that you take for granted, at one point you couldn't do them. So understanding that humans truly are an adaptation machine and that they are capable of acquiring any skill that they want, but it requires hard work. It requires that you do the reps. It requires that you put in the effort. And at the end of the day, the people that you're going to surpass are not going to be the people that have less talent than you. Maybe they even have more talent than you. It's going to be the people that you're willing to outwork. But until you're willing to outwork them, you're always going to be stuck. And as John Irving said, to do anything really well, you have to overextend yourself. And that's the key. If you want to put in an extraordinary performance, if you want to absolutely dazzle people, then you have to do something amazing. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to do things that other people think are going to break you, that other people simply believe there's no way that you could be able to pull that off, that the human animal just is not capable of the lengths to which you are professing to go. And when you profess it, you have to be willing to back it up, and you have to put yourself on that march knowing in no uncertain terms, under no circumstances, and for no reason whatsoever would you ever be willing to back down. And when you go in with that level of certainty, then and only then are you actually going to be able to pull this off. And as Billie Jean King said, champions keep playing until they get it right. Fatigue will literally chip away at your will to win. It is the thing inside of your mind, that weak voice that tells you that you're not going to be able to make it. The weak voice that begs you to stop, and the weak voice that promises safety and security if you would just quit. And here's the worst part about that. It's right. If you quit right now, if you stop, just sit down, relax. You're not at risk anymore. You're not at risk of embarrassment. You're not at risk of failure. But you're also not at risk of greatness. And if you really want to achieve something, you've got to find ways to put yourself at risk of something great happening. You've got to put yourself at risk of overextending yourself. You've got to be willing to face that you may die, that you may actually fall. And here's the thing, for the people that dismiss that, that say they would never put themselves in that situation, then you have limits. And make no mistake, those limits are self-placed. And for the people that are willing to push that, for people that are willing to go beyond that, for people who understand there are things in this world that they're prepared to die for, and it is the thing that they put at the center of their life. It is the thing that they are living for, but they're not going to stop, and they understand that where the human mind thinks it will break is far short of where it will actually break. But before you can find that point, you've got to be willing to push yourself. You've got to be willing to go harder and farther than anybody thinks is reasonable or sensible. That's the path. And so the question is, can you be thought a fool? The question is, do you believe in something so much that you would put yourself at risk like that? The question is, can you face down everyone, including the weak voice inside of your own mind, to make the world come true that you want to see come true? Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to do it for you. So if you're a champion, keep going until it's done. As Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. wherever you are right now listening to this, I want you to burn that into your mind. The most powerful weapon that you're going to have at your disposal isn't a gun, it isn't a sword, it isn't a bomb. The most powerful weapon you will ever have at your disposal, if you really want to make change, is knowledge. It doesn't mean going to school. It can be school, it can be books, it can be a mentor, it can be somebody else's failure, it can be your own failure. But whatever it is, to always be learning, to be learning something today, knowing that that's an investment. And as Robert Louis Stevenson said, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but rather by the seeds you plant. And that's what knowledge is. That's what the learning process is you're learning something today that you may not even understand how it's going to be valuable. But one day, that piece of knowledge is going to come to your aid. One day, that thing that you learned is going to be something that you're going to lean on. One day, that thing that you've worked your ass off to understand better than anybody else in the world, it's going to help you change the world. But you have to be doing it now. You have to be learning with an obsession. You have to understand that ideas in equal ideas out, and that you have to chase that knowledge down, that it is a relentless pursuit, and that like you would build an armada, like you would create a stockpile of weapons, you must create a stockpile of knowledge. You must learn and learn and learn, and you must hold yourself accountable every day to planting those seeds, to getting better, to learning more, to understanding things more broadly. When you do that, there will be nothing that won't be unlocked to you. That's what I want you guys to understand. It doesn't matter where you are now. It doesn't matter where you started, your circumstances, the money, the people that you know. None of it matters. What matters is how much are you willing to learn? How good are you willing to get? How much knowledge are you willing to soak in? Because that will become your weapon. That will be how you rise up, and that will be the thing that will protect you when you need it most.
For you.
So if you want to do something incredible tomorrow, learn today.
Okay, all right, we're back. It's 10 minutes already. Okay, great. So if you did not pick anything from that, I'm sure we picked the last quote there, or the last statement. If you want to do anything incredible tomorrow, you learn today. So now, everyone, let's go into the demo. So I want us to launch our Power Apps. So everybody, open your browser. Let me get to my browser as well. Let me get to my browser. So go to powerapps.com. Yes, this. Why is this covering my entire screen? Yeah. So everybody, let's go to powerapps.com or make the powerapps.com, whatever, and open Power Apps. So let's see how we can begin to develop solutions within the Power Apps. So once you have your Power Apps launched and you have switched to your trial environment, please put up your hand, use the hand tool. So everybody, quickly. Okay, Yinka has it, great. You are on powerapps.com and you have switched to the trial environment. Please put up your hands. Okay, top, I can see 2 hands now. So let's be fast with this. Let's be fast. Okay, you can see 3. Just 1 minute. I want everyone to do that. Okay, I can see 4. So you should have this interface that I have, and you should have switched your environment to whatever environment, the trial environment actually. So to the trial environment, you should have switched to that. So I have four hands up now. I still expect Omatomiwa, Ololade, David, Mazida, Baraka. Are we all there? Let's put our hands up as soon as we have okay, I
I'm
can
trying to raise
see
up my hand, but it's not allowing me. I don't know why. But I'm already there.
you are there. Okay, great. All right. Thank you for that. Miriam, Ololade, Mazida, Baraka. Any challenge? Any challenge? Oluwasegun, I don't know. Any challenge? Your hand seem not up yet. Okay, I have seven hands up now.
Provider. So I've been trying to do that. So
You've been trying to do what exactly? Raise your hand or get onto powerapps.com.
I mean for the trial, I'm on the app.com now, but to launch the trial, the network is denying me. That's
Okay, it's just for you to change your environment. So let me go back there. Just look at my screen. So look at
okay.
my screen now. Can you see where I have environment here at the top right?
Yes.
So if you click on the environment, you see the list of environments that you have access to. You should see trial.
Okay. I mean,
So
yeah.
once you see trial, just click on trial. It switches to the trial environment. You can see now I'm on the trial environment. So, but I don't want to use the trial environment. I am using this. All right. So now this is the Power Apps interface. A number of things we need to understand on this interface before we begin to build whatever solution we want to build. On the left pane of our screen, we'll see that we have some buttons there. Currently, we are on Home. And when you are on Home, you can actually do a number of things. So you can begin to build your app from this Home tab here, so to put. So you can begin to build your app there, and some of the apps that you have built previously, you see them here. You can see some of the apps that I have here. And the next thing there is the learn. So here there are some documentations, Microsoft documentations that we can access to learn certain concepts within the Power Space. So later at the end of the course, we will share and recommend certain resources with us as well. And we are hoping that at the end of this course, we should be able to at least sit for the Microsoft Power Platform Fundamental Examination. So with what we would have learned in this course. So and then so apps here, you see all the apps that you have built. So you see everything, you see them here. All the apps that you have built, you see them here. And if you come to create, you can also begin to create your apps from this tab. So the other things that we need to take note of is we have Dataverse here. What is the Dataverse? So we know that for whatever application you want to build, whether low code, whether full code, whatever application you want to build, the application will be generating some data. And the data that the application would generate, they have to be stored somewhere. You need a data source. So it is in the data source that you are going to write the entire data that the app is generating into. So the data will be saved there. That is the essence of the data source. So for instance, you are using a Jumia food app on your mobile. The Jumia food app, whenever you place order using that Jumia food app, it generates some data about you, your username, your location, your order, the amount you paid. All those data are generated and they are pushed into the data source. The data source might be SQL Server, it might be Oracle, it might be MongoDB, whatever data source they are using at Jumia, and they are tied to that app. It will be generated and saved in there. So the same thing for your Power Apps. So you need to decide, where do you want your data to be saved? So do you want your data to be saved on Excel Online? Do you want to be saved in SQL Server? Do you want to be saved in SharePoint? Do you want to be saved in Google Drive? Whatever source you want your data to be saved into, you need to decide that. Depending on certain reasons. So one of the data sources that you have access to within the Power Apps ecosystem or the Power Platform ecosystem is what is called the Dataverse. The Dataverse is the data storage primarily built by Microsoft for the Power Platform, and it has some high-level functionality and when a lot more secured than the traditional databases that you might be aware of. So if I click on the drop down for this Dataverse, you see that I have tables here. So if I click on tables, you will see a list of the entire table that we have created on the Dataverse within this environment, the Debra Consulting tenants or the Debra Consulting environment as we are on now. So these are the tables, and the Dataverse actually comes with some standard tables. So if I filter this, let me see if I filter this to, okay, if I do custom, so the custom tables are the tables that you created yourself. So you can see register, you can see risk register app, all these were tables that we created ourselves. But if we see the standard tables, so like this account is a standard table. So these are some of the tables that come by default within the Dataverse. So they come by default within the Dataverse, and then you can make use of them within your app. We have choices to understand what choices are. Data flows are just like your Power Query Online. For those of us that we know about Power Query, we get to that when we get to Power BI and some other things here. We can actually explore some of this later. So gateways are what allow you to connect to certain data sources that are sitting on your system. The data source is not online, but you want to be able to connect with it. So then you need gateway, you need to install certain gateways to be able to speak. It stands as the intermediary between what is online and what is offline. So under the Dataverse, we have the flows. So these flows, they are your Microsoft Power Automate flows. And within the Power Apps, and that is one of the beauty of the Power Platform. So when you are within one of the products, you can actually access some of the other products. So while we are in our Power Apps, we can create Microsoft Power Automate flows within our Power Apps and link them to our Power Apps. So these are some of the flows that I have on the on this environment. You can see them. So the chatbot as well. So this is Power Virtual Agents. We are within Power Apps, but we can create chatbots within Power Apps and probably extend its functionality and usability by linking it with our Power Apps. So AI Builder, a bit advanced, probably we have some advanced session on the Power Apps, and then we talk about AI Builder and solutions. So at the end of the entire course, so solutions will come as one of the conversations that would have. We know what are the benefits of building your app within a solution and some other things. So now, before you can begin to build your apps, there are three ways really. So if I come back to create, you see that you can start your apps from blank. That is, you are the one that want to start your app from scratch. You want to customize everything, build everything from scratch, zero level. Or you can begin your app from data. What does this mean? You have your data already set up in Excel Online or already set up in SharePoint, and you want your app to leverage on that, connect directly to that, and create an app for you, then you need to start from data. The other option you have is to start from templates. So we have loads of templates that Microsoft has already. You can see Power Apps training for Office, meeting capture, onboarding tasks, self decks, you have help decks, you have leave requests. These are some of the usual or the common use cases that you have in every organization. They want to have a leave request app. They may want to have a service desk app, and we can always explore this template that we have here. We can explore it at our leisure, and then the templates are customizable. So let's go back. So I mentioned that there are three ways to start building your apps. Is either you're starting from blank, or you're starting from data, which means you have a data source already, and then you want your app to begin from that data source. So it automatically picks the fields or the columns that you have created in that database and populates them on an app for you. And then you can start from template. So these are the three ways. So now, and like I explained, so if you're starting from blank, you can create a Canvas app from blank, a model-driven app from blank, or Portals app from blank. So we see these in later sessions, maybe next week, sometime next week. So, but today we want to start our app from data. So, and if we want to start our app from data, like I said earlier, you need to identify what's your data source? Where do you want to save your data when you begin to use your app is generating data, where do you want it to be saved? So for this class, we want to use Dataverse as our data source so that Dataverse will serve as the back end, writing our data into it, and we have our app at the front end. So whatever data, whatever information we enter into our app is automatically saved in our Dataverse. So now, to do that, we need to configure our Dataverse table. We need to create a table that we want to use within the Dataverse that would serve that we are going to write our data into. How do we start that? We need to come to our Dataverse here, so we can follow along. We need to come to our Dataverse and click on this drop down, and then we click on tables, just like we went then. Click on tables. So once we click on tables, what you may see for now, someone is lost, someone has a question. Yinka, your hand is up. You have a question, or it's from a previous
It's from a previous one.
Okay, Ablaziz, your hand is up.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know. From my table here, it's telling me no database found. So is it the
No
general?
database found. Okay,
Yes.
who
When
else
I
has
click
that?
my tables.
Yeah, who else has
Same
that?
here.
No database
Same
found.
here.
Same here.
Same
Who
here.
said same
Okwefa,
here
same
now?
here.
Okwefa, okay.
Okwefa.
Okay. Anyone else? Yinka, do you have a database? Do you have tables there?
Yes.
Okay, Babatope, do you have? Hello, Babatope. Omatomewa, do we all have tables there? Here.
Yes, I do.
Okay, okay, great. All right. So the reason why you don't have database is because while you were configuring the trial environment, one, confirm you're on the trial environment. If you are on the trial environment, while you were configuring it, there was a point that you were asked to tick create database for this environment. Perhaps you did not select, you did not toggle that button. So that's an error you would have to fix by most likely you have to create another trial environment, most likely. So probably after this session, you would need to get back to that and ensure that whatever button you were asked to toggle, create database for this environment, create deploy sample apps and data, you need to toggle all those buttons for you to have access to the database. So that is the fix that we have for that. So please, we can review the video on how to create the environment so that we can follow through to ensure that we toggle all of those, and then we should have access to this. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, I've done that. So I think I can now see it. So
You can also
I've changed
excellent
to Abdelaziz trial. Yeah.
trial.
So it's now
Okay, yeah. It's yeah. So it's either of the
I
two things.
suggest
It's
the
either you're on
other. I
yeah,
suggest that maybe the other guy should also check
Okwefa. Yeah.
to change
So
to
it's
maybe trial version or something.
yeah. So those are the two issues. It's either you are not on the trial, or while you were configuring the trial, you did not toggle the button. So that's it there. So now when you open this, by default you should have some standard tables as well. You should have some standard tables, accounts, all the stuff. So at the top left, you say new table. So if I click on new table, then we want to create our table that we will use for our app. So once you click on new table, you have a pane open for you at the right. So give the table a name. So let's say the scenario I painted earlier on the Excel file is what we want to create an app for now. So let's say that is a sales app, for instance. So I'll put sales app table. That's what I want to call my table. You can call your table whatever. Okay, so display name, just type the name there, and then once you type the name of your table under the display name, you will see that your plural display name auto populates. So you don't need to edit that, so just leave it. It auto populates for you. And then your primary name column. So now, what is the primary name column? What the primary name column does is that when you enter data on a database. When you enter data on a database, so what happens is that the data is assigned a key. And what do I mean by a key? You need to have something that would identify a complete record on that data source or that database. And when I say record, what I'm referring to is a row like this. This data here is this is a complete record here. This is another complete record. This is another complete record, because each of these records are referring to a single customer, individual customer. These are the details. This is the serial number. Yes, of course, this has to do with the data source. This is the name of the customer, the receipt ID, the product, and the amount. So this is a complete record for a single customer. So now, the primary key, what it does in the database is that key or that value that uniquely identify whatever you have on the data source, so that when we need data for Baba Tokwe, for instance, once we know the receipt ID, we can enter the receipt ID and then it retrieves this record for us. Or maybe we need this record and then we just need to enter what the receipt ID is and it retrieves this entire record for us. That is what a key does. And a key usually has to be unique many times. So that is the same thing that we want to do on the Dataverse table now. So it's asking the primary name column. It's at the moment it's putting a name. We can actually edit this. Maybe we want to make it the customer name or something, depending. So name is fine. So but for your primary column, it has to be a text or a number. It has to be text or number that will use as the primary key within your database. So once you're done with this, you have your name, you have your display name, then the primary name is there. Then if the app that you want to build would require that the user attach some things. Maybe you are building an app for field engineers, and when they go on the field, you want them to take pictures of certain equipment or certain machineries that are down and upload that onto the server, so whoever is at the maintenance within the maintenance crew, they can begin to attend to that. You may have to toggle on this button to enable attachment, but for this instance we don't need that, so I will toggle this off and then I'll click on create. So everybody click on create. Everybody click on create. Are we there? Has everyone clicked on create?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, great. 2 more responses, so we proceed.
Done.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. All right. So once you click on create, you'll see that there are some fields that have been auto-populated for you. These are default fields within the Dataverse or the data source. Default fields. So fields like created by, created on. So these are just things that they are called metadata, really. So you are entering a data today, it automatically picks you because you are signed in as a user, so it picks your detail. You are the one that created this record, the date you created the record, the day you modify it, and all of this. So but you see that the one we created is the primary name column. You see primary name column somewhere. So now we want to add some other details. So let's look at our Excel file again. So we have the name as the primary column. So let's create receipt ID. Let's create receipt ID now. So at the top left again, you see add column. So click on add column, everybody. You click on add column. So once you click on add column, then you give your column a name. So let's say receipt ID. Receipt ID is the column name, and then you need to select the data type. What do we mean by data type? Data type describes the kind of data you are entering. The kind of data you are entering. That is what data type describes for you. So now, for instance, if I go back to this Excel, on Excel, I have bag here. Everything on that product bag, let's say this one is some car, let's say this one is bicycle. I don't know if this is the spelling, but I think I'm right. So you have this here. So if you look at on the home tab, if I come here to the numbers group, I will see general. So at the moment, Excel has not assigned any data type to this. So it's just saying general, which could mean that I'm not sure what you mean by this, what data category is this. So I can go on to tell Excel that I'll click on this drop down and tell Excel that this is a text. So here is text. This is a text. So Excel will begin to treat it like text. So this number here, you can see Excel has identified that this is number. So that is what data type is. So it describes what you have within that column. So now if I come back to my table, we have different data types that we can make use of in the Dataverse. So you have the text, and the text data type is a situation whereby what we want to enter is just like a name like this, Babatokwe, something that is not more than, say, I think the limit should be maybe 255 characters or something. So that is when you can use a text. Okay, so but in a situation whereby maybe on the app you would want the user to enter comments, maybe on the leave request app you want them to enter purpose, the purpose might be something that will be long, so they are typing like 3 4 5 sentences, then you need to change the data type to a text area. So text area accommodates much more characters than the text. So if it's something that they will type in and its text is a string and then it's not long, not really long, it's a one line thing, then you use text area. When the characters that are needed are more, then you use text area, so it comes like a multi-line field and they can type in whatever stories they want to type in. Email address, if what you'll be taking from the user is email address, you select the email address field. Data type, URL, if you want them to enter website URL and logs like that, ticker symbol, phone number, auto number. So all of these data types. But now, for receipt ID, let's say we want to generate auto numbers for it. So we don't want people to enter the ID manually. So we just want that to be auto generated. So I'll click on auto number. And when I click on auto number, so you see the data type has changed to auto number, and then required. Under the required, you need to specify. Do you want to make this a compulsory field? Okay, so we have three options: optional, recommended, required. So if I select required, it means that nobody will be able to submit any form of details on that app except that they fill out this. They have to fill out this. But because this is actually an auto generated field, so we don't have to make it required really, because it's the system that will auto generate it, so it's fine. So auto number type, you need to select this. You can make it a string, prefix, number, a date prefix, or custom. If you make it a custom, you can define what comes before. So these are some of the things that we can explore later. So let's just go by string prefix, and then the prefix, so we say ID. That is what we want to prefix this. So now you can see the preview. So it's saying ID 1000. So it will begin ID 1000. The next entry will take ID 1001. The next entry will take ID 1002, and like that. So you can reduce this if you want it to start from 200, like that. So whatever. So you can just walk around this. So then that's all for this really. So we click on done. So once you click on done, you should be able to see it here, receipt ID. So let's just create two more fields.
Yeah, hello.
So
Hello, sorry.
sorry, please.
I want to see something. Did you later input some things here like the number of auto number? I think I see something of 4, maximum of 4, something like
Minimum
what you
digit,
type.
yeah, 4. You can actually change it to 3 depending on what you want.
Sorry, hold on
So
for a moment, please. Just I want to confirm some things, please. Hold on, please.
okay, please. Yeah.
Auto number type. Auto number type. The auto number type, did you, I think it's only auto number you said we should input there.
So the auto number type, there are other options there. You can
But which
string
one did you, I
prefix.
want, okay, you
String
chose string
prefix.
prefix.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was
Okay.
why we entered ID on the prefix.
I definitely, I think you just leave everything like the way it is then.
No, I entered ID on the prefix. And that
Okay.
was why we saw on the preview ID dash 1000.
Okay.
Do you get?
Yeah. Yeah, it is fine.
Are you clear now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so click on done. So then let's add another field. Let's create a field for our products. So let's create a field for our product. So we come here, display name, let's say product, and then the data type. So because this one, the product, we have a number of products. Let's say the entire product that we deal in are just 3. So we can come down here and select choice. So the choice field comes like a drop-down list. So the user, they are not manually entering what product. They just pick from a list of products. So you select choice. And once you select choice, then under the data type, you see another field pop up for you, that is choice field. So click on the drop down. So we have these are the pre-populated or predefined choices that Microsoft has done within the Dataverse. So, but these are not what we want. We want to define our own. So you see new choice at the top. So I'll click on new choice. So once I click on new choice, then I can begin to give options. But first thing you do, we'll know the reason later. The display name for the choices, change that to product list. When we get to some advanced level, we'll understand why we are doing this. So change the display name for the choices to product list. And under the items, let's now list our items. So bags, that's the first, add new item. Let's say car, add new item. Let's say mobile phone. Let's just limit it to these 3. So these are the products that we have. So when you have these 3 products, click on save. That returns you back to that column for products. So that returns you back to the column for products. You can select a default value. Let's say we want to make the default value to be mobile phone. That's what we want to make the default. And under required, we want to make this required. It has to be filled. No customer data should be entered without specifying what product they bought. We have this, and then click on done. Everyone has this, and the 3 responses.
Sorry. Please, can we take
Yeah,
it from
go
the
on.
top again?
Okay, so this is what I've done. Let me discard this. Yeah, let me discard this. Add column, display name, products. You have this. You come down to data type, click on the drop down, select choice. Then it's asking for the choices. What are the options? So select the drop down on that choice. We do a new choice. And then this one, I want to make it product list. Then we list our items. So our items, car, I think, add new item, bag, add new item, mobile phone. I think these are the items. You here?
Car, bag, mobile.
So once you have this, click on save. Click on save. It takes you back to the column details itself. Then we select the default value. You can actually leave this blank, but we can say mobile phone is the default. So whenever anybody wants to pick anything from here, mobile phone will pop up first, and then you can select another thing. Required, we need to make this required. Our customers details will not be complete without this. Then we click on done. Are we there?
Didn't right.
Okay. Any other response? Who's also there? Who has that configured?
I do.
Please, can we take the receipt ID again? The receipt ID.
The receipt ID. So where are you
Yeah.
exactly on the receipt ID?
I didn't get the information then.
Can you see what I have here now? Have you given it a display name?
Yes, please. Kindly hold on just a few seconds.
So for those of us that we have the receipt ID, we have the products column. Let's go ahead to create amount column. Let's create the amount column. Just add column, fill in the details, your data type, go through the data type and select what you think should be the correct data type. So about the data type for receipt ID, auto number, we want it to generate automatically.
And then the minimum digit is 4, right?
Yeah, we have 4 for this. Yeah.
And then the feed value, I should leave it at 1000. Maybe
Yeah.
that's in a constant, right?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay,
Auto number
thank you.
type, did you change it to string prefixed?
Yes, I've done that.
Yeah, so just click on done.
Done. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's create
Sorry,
amount
I
table.
have a
Anybody else
question
that?
for
Go on.
the amount column. For the
Yeah.
amount column, the data type should be whole number, right? Or auto number we should put.
Okay. What do we think? I want us to answer it. O number, what other option can stand as a data type for the amount column?
Yeah, it should be like normally. I can. It depends. It depends. But
Yeah.
for me, I think giving whole number should not really be an ideal something to put there, because we can still have maybe in naira now, maybe 50 naira, 20 kobo, which is going to be like the so now saying whole number is not a correct option here as far as I understand. So
Okay.
but I can't really, maybe is it auto number then? I think auto number should be the best to
No, we
Okay,
can't
let me
use
quickly
auto number.
clarify that. Yeah. So auto
I think
number
we can.
auto generates. You cannot enter inputs if you select auto number. Okay, Yinka, so what do you think we should use as the data type there?
I think we can use either currency or decimal number.
Okay. All right, great input. Sarah, you want to say something? Okay, I can only hear some mumbles really. Okay. All right, so let's go through this. Okay. So amount, we have some data types here. If we say all numbers means it will not take decimal point values. That's what all number means. So it has to be exact. 12,400 has to be 12,400. So it will chop off these decimal points. Whereas some instances we may want to have maybe a unit price, maybe we have a unit price column here, unit price column, and the unit price of this could be 12.40. So, and because the individual is buying as much as say 100 units of this, that's why they are paying 12,400. So we may need the decimal point. So part of what the data type that we can use, we have decimal number, we can use that. Floating point number, I think we can use that as well. I think it just has some more decimal places than the decimal number really. But for currency, I'm not really sure if currency would also take, but I think currency would also take, yeah, decimal places, maybe 2 decimal places or 4 decimal places. But whole number is really not a choice. So we can use decimal number, we can use floating point number, we should be able to use currency as well. So let's just go on with any of this. So let's go with decimal number as a data type, and required. Let's make this required, and then we click on done. So let's do that.
I please, you are too
I
fast.
where you let me know where you are.
Amount,
Just the display name. Yeah, display name, that's the amount. That's amount.
data
Amount is the
type,
display name. Data type, decimal number, currency, floating point number. You can select any of those.
okay,
Make it required.
and done, right?
Yeah, click on done. There now.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So
Please,
now
I
we
have
have
a question to ask.
configured. Okay, go on.
If we are unable to, maybe we made some mistakes and we want to rectify it, we like want to edit some things in those things that
Yeah,
we've done. Are
yeah.
we to all just double click, or how are we going to do it to go back to make the changes?
Okay, now, so let me do something. So let me filter this to custom. So these are the columns that we created. So if, for instance, now this product column, I want to edit it and add maybe one more product. So you just come under the display name here. You just come to the product, click on it. Once you click on it, it opens back the pane. Okay. And under the choice, you can see edit choice. So I can click on edit choice, add one more. Maybe we have a new product, Maggie. I'll put that here. I'll click on save. So once I do that and it's saved, then that is updated. So that's updated. So we have that to be part of the choices, and then we can go on. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, you can continue, but the network was a little bit fluctuating when you were explaining. But continue, don't
Yeah,
worry.
so what you need to do is under the display name for your columns, where you have the names of your columns. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
So where you have the names of your columns, just click on that name. It opens back the pane where you entered everything about that column. Then you can edit.
Okay.
So once you are done editing, just click done, then everything updates. So now, after we have created our columns now, we should have 4 columns. Let's assume these are all the details that we want to take as regards our sales. So we have all these. At the bottom right, you see save table. So everybody, let's click on save table. Bottom right, you see save table. Everybody click on save table. Click on save table. So once your table is saved, then we are good to go. So your table is saved. You should get a notification that the table is saved. It's still saving. Okay, yes, I think our table is saved. Everything is fine. So everybody, please confirm your table is saved. Let's confirm we have saved our table.
Saved.
Saved. Thank you. Saved. Sarah, your hand is up.
Yes, please. So I have a question.
Okay.
When I chose to do I can't really see my columns are not standing separately,
Yeah,
independently. So it's just
you have some other columns in between, right?
yes.
Yeah, so those are columns that come with whatever table you are creating by default. So if you want to see the columns that you have, so what you
Yeah.
do is, what you have is this at the moment. You have so many columns like this. So you can
Yeah.
come to just under your environment, you see all.
Okay.
Click on the drop down and change it to custom.
Okay.
So now you should
Okay.
see the 4 columns. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So our columns have been created now. So then, yes, let's stop it here today. So it is from here that we now go on to create our app. We have configured the data source. So then how do we now proceed to connect our app to this data source and begin to develop our app, customize the app, beautify it, add features to it? We are going to see that in the next class. Do we have questions? We are 2 minutes at the top of the hour. Questions, clarifications. Questions and clarifications. Everything is clear.
No
Okay,
questions.
no question. So, okay, Ablaziz, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I started maybe 15 or maybe 20 minutes after the lecture started proper.
Okay.
So, and I know I've missed some things before due to some technical issues I had when I tried to connect.
Yeah.
So, I hope that there will be a recording so that I can catch up. Maybe to send us the recap so that for the those aspects that I missed.
Okay.
So
So
can
what I
please try
would do,
to do that for us.
yeah. So what I would do is for those of us that we are on this call now, we would get the recordings. So those of us that were on this call will share the recordings with us. Hopefully tonight, tomorrow morning, but yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll get the recordings shared with us, and then we can review some of the learnings. Yeah. So any other question? So let's just explore further, check the data types more, create some other tables yourself. Those use cases that you're thinking of, create tables for them in the Dataverse, and then in the next class, we are going to see how to connect to start our app from that table and add some other functionalities. So I think we're good.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, we're
okay,
good.
Yeah,
Olumide.
uh,
Sorry, who was speaking?
yeah. I wanted to ask that is it automatically saved right now, or we still have to do some things so that if we later come back, we can resume to where we stopped right now.
Yeah, so once you click on, let me share my screen. So once you clicked on, you know, at before this page, we add a save table button at the bottom right. So once you
Yes.
click on that, your table is automatically saved. And if you want to get back to that table, you have logged on to powerapps.com. Just come to Dataverse here, click on tables. It gives you a list of all the tables that you have. But this comes with the standard tables as well. So what you can do is you can search for your table name. At the top right, you see search. So I think we named this table sales app table or something. Yeah, so when I type sales, you can see this is sales app table. So I can click on sales app table and it takes me back to that table. I hope that
Okay.
answers it.
Okay. Yeah, it answers it. And sorry, the last question. Definitely,
Okay.
this cannot this this application cannot work until one is connected, right?
Everything you are doing
To
is
the
online.
internet. Ah, okay.
Everything you are doing is online. So you have to be connected before you can work on this. Okay. So, any other question before we call it a night or we call it an evening? All right, so let's remember practice, practice, practice. That is the key word. So let's practice the more. Let's ensure we lay our hands on this the more. Sarah, your hand is up. Hi, Sarah, you have a question?
No, sorry, I forgot to put down my hand.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's practice. Let's practice as much as we can. So that is how we can cement these learnings. So hoping to meet us again next week, Saturday, same time. Let's ensure that we be on the call as early as possible so that we don't take some time having to wait for people. Most likely we won't wait for anyone. So let's try to log on to the platform as early as possible. And then so we expect some of the exciting things that we'll start doing going forward. So this is where we would stop for tonight. And I hope we gain something. I really do hope. Did we gain anything? I want a feedback.
Definitely, definitely.
Yes, we do.
Yes, I
Thank you
do.
so
Okay.
much.
Because I think I'm just learning this as well. So I don't know if I was speaking gibberish or something. But it's cool. All right. So glad we
Not at all.
gained. Okay, great. All right. Thank you, David. So glad we gained something. So let's practice and then we meet some next week. Thank you very much, everyone. And let's do have wonderful night rest.
All right.